morning and welcome down to Muletown. As always, this is your captain speaking. As you see, things are pretty swell this morning out in the Muletown, Murray County greater area, just depending on wherever you are listening to me from today. So we'll hop right into things because we do have a lot to cover. I know this is earlier than we normally do our live videos, but I wanted to make sure I got this info out to all of y'all. So currently, it is 67.6 degrees here in Sunnyside. Dew point 63. Let me make sure. Yep, we got this up. Perfect. There we go. Pressure 29.22 inches of mercury. Humidity 84%. It looks like no measurable precip for today. Winds have been about 7 to 8 miles an hour or so. And then again, there are those current conditions live from Sunnyside. So high of about 80 today. And then we should move on into this evening. Mostly cloudy today, but going to be more cloudy as the day goes on. About 67 for the low tonight. But of course, the thing we want to talk about is going to be Tuesday. So pretty much all but 100% chance of rain. We'll call it 85 to 100% chance of rain for most of Murray County and the Muletown proper area. Do have those storms that we want to talk about as well. So the SPC has dropped the enhanced risk area farther to the south. So I've got all this posted on the page, but I want to go ahead and run you all through all of this. So categorical outlook right there, and then tornado risk area right there. See the yellow center area of the graphic there, touching just about the edge of Spring Hill, just on Murray County. So that's one of those where it's close enough to be of enough concern to merit watching. So large hail threat area, which again isn't going to be the main focus of the severe threat, but the wind definitely will be. So, judging by where we are here on the day 2 wind outlook, we may find ourselves in what we call the hatched area down there at the bottom, where it is a significant risk of damaging wind, just depending on how that day 2 outlook goes, or the day 1 outlook, excuse me. I'll read you part of that real quick. I've got all this posted again on the page for all of my visual people. But in short, it just says pretty widespread severe event expected on Tuesday from the Ohio and Tennessee valleys eastward. Wind damage and isolated large hail will be possible across a broad area. The tornado threat is expected to be greatest from Middle Tennessee, northeastward into central and northern Kentucky. So we are right in the middle of this one again, folks. So the trending away from not as likely maybe scenarios, but still possible that we talked about yesterday, looks like it is back on the table for the moment, at least. So again, all forms of severe weather are possible tomorrow. Tornadoes, very large hail, possibly, and then damaging wind, including possibly a few strong tornadoes. So we'll definitely be watching things, but now obviously is the time to plan and get ready. Go ahead and make sure that you have your severe weather plan in effect. You know what's going on. Make sure you got your emergency supplies, your safe place. Make sure everybody in the family knows what's going on. And then obviously the day before, which would be today, go ahead and think about adjusting those plans. Make sure you've got your ways to get your watches and warnings. And then the day of, which would be tomorrow again, just make sure everybody knows what's going on, the communication plan, the safety plan, and know about how long it takes you. So if you're on the way home from work, for instance, know what the storms are doing before you leave. If it takes you roughly an hour, to get back from home from work on Tuesday afternoon, evening, whatever, make sure you're keeping that in mind and taking that into account. So definitely have a way to get those watches and warnings. So As I said in the title, we're going to go in and kind of look at some models here real quick and explain some of my thinking and thought process on these. So this is the 06 Zulu HRRR model. So this is a 48-hour loop. It's showing some pretty gnarly cells popping up to our south and kind of training through the area here. Here we go. See it right around there. And I'm going to show y'all the more zoomed in version of this in just a second. So that is that, and so this is the same zoomed in version. So it's a lot of the models are still a little bit back and forth, but what we're starting to trend to now is kind of like that line of what we call training storms, where they're just one right behind each other, right behind each other, right behind each other, like they were hooked up like a train. So um, you see that, yeah, starts coming to play here. I've got it slowed down a little bit there, but you see around 5 or 6 p.m., 7 p.m., there's some pretty strong storms out and about, according to the HRRR model. Now, some of the other models are arriving at different conclusions. So, this is the NAM model that had kind of like split off away from the rest of the models a little bit yesterday, showing some similar things. So maybe some scattered, isolated, discrete cells, maybe some of those supercell things that we talked about we may have to worry about, and then a line of storms progressing through, possibly multiple lines up until about Wednesday daylight or so, and before that finally clears out. So again, there's lots of dynamics going on there, but pull everything out and kind of show you the expanded view for the moment, and then I can go ahead and put, so yeah, there's the SPC outlook back on the map for us. So you can see there, we're right in the middle of the enhanced area as far as that goes. So definitely be keeping an eye on that, and we'll go ahead and have a look. Let me get our screen share pulled up here. So yep, here we go. So let me get this in full screen so you all can see this. All right. So we'll have a look at some of the models, and I'll try to keep this brief again. And everybody's trying to get ready to go to work or wake up or whatever, and it's 5:30, and it's way too early for all this. So I'm gonna scroll this forward. This is the 06 Zulu HRRR model. This is the one we saw a minute ago with the zoomed out and zoomed in versions. Um, there's going to be some pretty good storms, and look like some pretty good bangers coming through at times up to our north in Kentucky or so, and then again possibly some into the Muletown area as early, like that said, 12 p.m. Yeah, 11 a.m., 12 p.m. So yeah, maybe some strong thunderstorms in the area as early as 12 p.m. And then we see about 3 p.m. some of these stronger storms rolling up and just kind of bubbling up from the southwest there. And when you see these little black areas, and they may be a little harder to see, or it looks like these storms are dragging a tail like that, a big old storm with an updraft right there. So that's what that's indicating right there. It's an updraft helicity greater than 75. So some of these storms look like they're producing pretty good updrafts, and that's got pretty good return in it there as far as what our simulated radar will be. And then it's got maybe a thin line coming through about 10 or 11 p.m. and clearing on out. So again, that was just one model. Here is the same model that I showed you a second ago. Let me scroll it forward. All right, so it's 3 p.m. See some broken storms come through. Maybe a line trying to form up. There we go. Several lines trying to form up, as we mentioned. And then again, this one's not clearing off until right at daylight on Wednesday. So let's go in and look at some. Yep, so these are all what we call convection allowing models, and it kind of extrapolates the latest current conditions out and tries to see what will happen based on the instability and heating and things like that, and how storms are able to convect and grow and change and cycle up and down. So that's what that part is all about. So we got some decently strong thunderstorms coming through, but this is actually looking like it's going to fire them up right just on the other side of us, maybe east of I-65. So that one is very interesting. That was the HRW WRF model. Then we're going to the NSSL, the National Severe Storms Laboratory version of the same model. It's Tuesday. Yeah, it looks like storms firing up to our east there. So instead of being near us, just again going through all of the different data sets and just kind of comparing them, seeing what the run says, seeing how they're similar or dissimilar to the other runs that we've looked at, as far as the timing, the severity, what's happening when, and just checking things like that. Getting an average basically is what I'm doing here. So some of these are trending to either show some pretty heavy storms or trains of storms breaking out near our area. So it doesn't just necessarily have to be right on us, but I think this was one of the more bold ones yesterday, I think. So yeah, let's look at the 00 Zulu, which was about 6 hours ago. And then we'll look at the newer one of this. Yeah, it's got some bangers going across there. Yeah, and here we go. It shows some pretty decent storms again forming up right there along us and then rolling off to the east, and then possibly this other line of storms, pretty decent line of storms coming through there. Looks like Tuesday night, 10, 11 or so. And then let's look at the newest version of this same model. It's decent storms. Yeah, starting out farther to the west though that time. Pretty good storms, and then yeah, looks like another broken line of storms coming in there on the back of it. So lots of swing and variation with these, and that's what's given us the issues. So they're kind of agreeing that there's going to be generally some storms, or probably some clusters of storms, maybe even some lines of clusters of storms, as we indicated in my real wordy uh, post yesterday. I think it was, or day before. Um, that's the issue, is we're trying to figure out exactly what is going to happen when and the where, and that's what's throwing things off, because the different weather conditions on the west side of the state versus the middle part of the state versus the eastern part of the state just may interact differently. So it's depending on a lot of things. So yeah, this one's showing some more action by Tuesday morning early, so into like the daylight hours, continuing all day into the evening, and then some pretty decent, maybe isolated storms, supercell storms coming through. And again, bands are kind of training lines. So interesting result there as well. So we're looking at another similar model and viewing the same product each time. So just the projected radar and the updraft of some of these storms. Yeah, potentially some pretty good looking discrete cell, supercell thunderstorms may be possible with these, and it also may just slide through in rain. So it's those kind of the two camps of thought right now. So the models all have been tending to trend back towards, again, this supercell, discrete cell, maybe blobs of clusters of multiple cells coming through and being potentially pretty strong to severe. So it's looking like things are trending that way a bit. But again, all model guidance, this is all still up in the air because it's still a decent bit out. Let's look at 00. Yeah, it's kind of, well, there they come. I was going to say it's kind of a big difference there, but it's still showing those cells bubbling up from the southwest, and so far all the runs of HRRR are doing that. So yeah, man, it's showing some bangers coming through, some pretty good storms. up to our north, especially. Yep, that's that last one. So yeah, it's possible, folks. I mean, I hate to keep saying it's possible and just kind of leave it hanging, but I mean, it looked like things may have been trending away from that yesterday, and now today, things are kind of right back in that same boat. So definitely something that we'll be watching very, very carefully, and be posting the updates pretty continuously as soon as we get them to whoever needs them on the page. So I've got everything I think that we used today in the stream up there already. I can throw in the graphics for the current conditions, but I think everything else as far as the SPC stuff is up there on the page already. So make sure you have a look at that. If you're just now joining us or you missed part of this, you can go back as soon as you're done listening to the video, watching the video, and look at the slides and all the stuff from uh, the live stream and all the info I presented so far. So definitely have a look at that. See some people commenting on things already. And yeah, and this one's going to be, I try to remind everybody of this before things happen, just trying to stay on top of things. This is going to be another one of those situations to where we're going to speak kind of generally. And when we say, like all of Middle Tennessee, Murray County is in Middle Tennessee. So that would include Murray County and everywhere in it. So Columbia, Culleoka, Santa Fe, Williamsport, Spring Hill, half of it, whatever. Everybody, if you say, Middle Tennessee, that includes Murray County. And if you live in Culleoka, that includes you. So just make sure you're paying attention to those things. So we will try to tell you everything you need to know in the post, or it may be covered in a new post. So especially look at how old the post is. When things are going crazy and we've got a really busy kind of event going on, we'll usually, I just tell people just to sit on the page and just refresh things. So, because you may be looking at something that somebody else has liked and shared and, tickled the algorithm on, but it's an hour old, and an hour in this business is a long, 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 long time. So make sure you're looking at how old the post is, and make sure you're refreshing things and getting the latest info as well. So it's two things to keep an eye on. Comment section. Kristen, thank you for that big money. Always appreciate that. Ariana, it's not going to storm tomorrow, or excuse me, it's not going to storm today. It should be pretty okay today. It's going to be cloudy a little bit, but the temperature should be fine. It's going to be about 80 today. Tomorrow is going to be the question. So I would prepare for all day because some of the models are showing some things coming in a little bit earlier in the morning, but the biggest threat area I would say is going to be the afternoon into the late evening hours. So anywhere from noon to, I'd say, 7 or 8 p.m. is probably going to be the best bet. But I mean, there may be stuff rolling in at daylight to, late into the night. It's just going to depend. So anyway, if you do have any questions, go ahead and throw those in the comment section right now so I can get to them, because that is about all I've got. And I wanted to make sure that you all got the pertinence there. So again, I'll run back over this part real quick. The SPC has shifted the heavier threat area back down to the south, like we thought they may. The biggest tornado threat does appear right now to be from Middle Tennessee up into Kentucky, and there is the associated tornado threat graphic there, and you can see just the edge of it around Spring Hill, Murray County is included in that 10% tornado risk area. So again, hail outlook. There could be some very large hail. Some of those storms look like they were trying to get a pretty good updraft in the middle of that wind shear. So there may be some hail, but it is definitely not as broad there as the wind threat. So the area in red is 30%. It's pretty high for the wind, and I'm thinking that's mostly what's given us our enhanced risk area. But if those storms or those circulations prove to be a little bit stronger around that red area, say the center of it, it could go to a higher risk area, and that could push things up to a moderate risk, which is that 3 out of 5, or 4 out of 5, excuse me. So um, it could go up a little bit from there. Is a risk of tornadoes, and then some also possibly being strong tornadoes. So as we talked about earlier, definitely go ahead and get ready. Use this time now to make sure that you've got your safe place figured out. Make sure you've got your communication plan with the family figured out, and all of that fun stuff. So this is that warning, folks, to go ahead and make sure that you're ready for this, because it is looking like that some pretty gnarly weather may just pan out on Tuesday. So it's tomorrow. Right. And again, as always, welcome to everybody joining us on YouTube. Appreciate y'all. All right, yep. So I've got everything up, posted to the page that we used in the live stream. So if you missed anything, or you're just now catching us, I've got all of that stuff up on the page for you as well. I think that is everybody out of the comment section. Okay, so perfect. Yep. If you do have any other questions, comments, concerns, admissions of guilt, etc., go ahead and just comment those down in the comment section, because I'm about to hop off and we will get those answered at some point. So still going to be here near the desk crunching models and doing captain-y things for probably the rest of today. And tomorrow, I guess late tonight and early tomorrow morning, I'll be having a look on things. So I'm doing a new work schedule now, so I'm gonna have to work around that for a little bit. But we'll definitely make sure we get that information out to you all one way or the other. So again, thank you all for joining us. This has been the Captain on Weather Down in Muletown. Stay tuned for the latest and greatest updates from us, the National Weather Service, your local print and or media and or internet or whatever you like outlets. And be ready and stay safe. We'll catch y'all later.